Hello, today we're going to speak about the cycle of Joseph. As a servant in Potiphar's house, I befriended Joseph, the son of Jacob. I will never forget the day that Joseph entered Potiphar's house. At first, Joseph was actually person attendant, Potiphar's person attendant. But then he rose and became the manager of Potiphar's estate. When we both entered, we were both young. And so we began to share stories of our upbringing. Joseph, he was a faithful steward of God, and his life and his stories truly inspired me as his fellow friend and servant. He loved God, and God loved Joseph. Even though Joseph had faced many trials, God remained faithful, sovereign, and always provided a way for Joseph. This helped me build a massive well of trust in the God of Joseph, and later I too began to trust in this God. On Joseph's first day that he arrived at Potiphar's house, we sat and had lunch together. This is actually how we became friends. He started by telling me how he landed up in Potiphar's house. He's told me that it all started when his father made this special coat for him. This had become the object of his brother's envy and enmity. Then he told me that he was a dreamer. He loved being a dreamer in real life, but when he slept at night, he had real, vivid dreams. He shared with me that he shared these dreams with his brothers, and this made them really angry. In fact, he had two dreams. The first dream was the binding shafts in the field, which bowed down to his shaft. The second dream was about the sun and the moon and the 11 stars that bowed down to him. I remember thinking at first when he shared this, wow, if I were his brothers, I would be angry, because is he implying that we as his brothers are bowing down to him? I don't blame his brothers for being a little bit negative, and possibly for some of the things that had followed on. However, I do know that they were very harsh. Joseph was always very open and upfront, admitting he's only 17. He made bad choices. He tattletaled on his brothers. This made them even more angry. Not only did his father favor them, but he wasn't the best of brothers either. When Joseph admitted this, it really helped me to see him differently. And this is when my heart actually began to soften for Joseph. My heart really sank when Joseph told me about how his brothers plotted to kill him. Instead, they actually landed up stripping him of his coat. And his brother Reuben had suggested, let's not kill Joseph, because Reuben had some ideas apparently of potentially saving Joseph. However, that never happened, because in the end of the day, Reuben didn't do that, but they did cast Joseph into a pit. Joseph was then, as he explained, found by some Midianites. These Midianite traders sold him for 20 shekels. I had to take a moment, honestly, to just blink back the tears in my eyes, because I truly was so sad for my friend. However, God showed up for him. And even though Joseph had been sold, he made it into Potiphar's house. And Potiphar also found favor with Joseph. A few weeks later, there was a big situation. And that leads me to what had happened. Was I was busy cleaning after lunch one day, still in Potiphar's house at the time, and reflecting back on all that Joseph had shared. Our master saw that the Lord made all that Joseph did prosper in his hands. This comes from that scripture in Genesis 39, verse 3. Our master made him the overseer of his house. Yes, I've told you this. However, I reflected that after he told me all of that, or after all the good, unfortunately, one day, Potiphar's wife accused Joseph of becoming sexual with her. I remember thinking, as I overheard all of the stuff that was going on in the room, I was thinking, this is outrageous. Joseph ran out of the room. He was like, oh, this is what happened. I didn't do anything. She came on to me. But I had to keep quiet. I couldn't tell the truth about these things because I was too afraid that I would get into trouble. Accused of rape, Potiphar took his wife's side and threw Joseph into the royal prison. However, my peace, it comes from God, because I know how Joseph trusted God throughout all of this. Despite being in the prison, God, this magnificent sovereign God, rose Joseph up in the prison. He began to even speak to the royal guards. Although our master unfortunately did forget about Joseph in prison, I had actually continued to cultivate our relationship and visit Joseph sometimes in the prison. One day, Joseph was so excited when I had arrived. What is it that you want to share with me today? I'm so excited. Why do you look so excited? Joseph had actually said that Potiphar had called him to come and interpret his dreams. But the thing that stood out to me the most was that Joseph says, but you know what, dear friend? I cannot interpret dreams, but I am going to seek God so that he can help me and interpret these dreams. I stood in awe of Joseph. In that, Joseph got elevated to the prime minister of now Pharaoh's house, Potiphar's master. I mean, how crazy is that? All I can think of and remember throughout the season is how Joseph trusted and loved God, and how sovereign God was, how faithful God was, and how God loved Joseph. He always showed up for him. He never left him, nor forsook him. One day, after many years, by this stage, I'd already moved from Potiphar's house because Joseph, my dear friend, allowed me to become the head servant in his quarters. But we had a great famine, and everybody was coming to get food from Egypt. And I noticed a group of men bowing down before Joseph. I knew instantly this must be his brothers. I felt it in my heart, in my spirit. After that, a whole series of events had happened. And then Joseph hosted this banquet in his own home. And I was one of the servants, of course, the head servant leading the banquet. Joseph had asked everybody, please, could you leave the room? I want to address these men. In Joseph addressing everybody, I needed to get everybody out. Once the servants was out, I leaned my ear to the door because I couldn't help but overhear the joy of Joseph reuniting with his brothers. God, in his faithfulness, in his sovereignty, always showed up for Joseph. Not only did that happen, but furthermore, actually, Joseph ended up reuniting with his family, his whole family. In reflecting upon this, I can only think of how God was sovereign in Joseph's life. That upon reflecting on all Joseph's trials, all of that, his attitude was never affected. He always remained having a great attitude. God was pleased with Joseph. Even it reminds me so much of God does not do things to please us. It is not to please our will, but he uses us as a vessel. And all that he does is to honor him. And everything that Joseph's story has taught me is that God honors those who honor him. My audience were my husband and my children. My children specifically loved the part of Joseph tattletaling on his brothers, but they also reflected on that tattletaling is not nice. Being kind to your siblings is really, really important. Joseph's attitude is what stood out to me absolutely the most. God's faithfulness and sovereignty stood out even more. Finally, I am grateful for this story because it has reminded me that I need to be a faithful steward of God, no matter how bad the trials get, that God has always got a plan and a purpose for my life and my family's life, and that it is always there to please Him. Thank you.